Welcome back. It's nice and cosy and warm in here. This is a Peugeot. I recommend this little beauty I could get from London to Liverpool in about the time it takes to do the programme, about 90 minutes. David, once again, actually, before we do anything else, let's get these pronunciations right. Is it Peugeot or Peugeot?
I'd say Peugeot. Some people say Peugeot.
But that's wrong. It's Peugeot.
I think
right?
Peugeot's right, yes.
And is it Porsche or Porsche?
Porsche, definitely.
Porsche,
and
right.
Porsche themselves will tell you.
They get very annoyed, don't they, if you don't
Well,
pronounce
they
it
get
right.
a little bit edgy if you get it wrong, but a lot of people say Porsche. It doesn't actually matter.
Right, and of course it doesn't. This Peugeot, then, is basically a more accessible sporty car than the other ones we've seen, like the Cosworth and the Porsche. It doesn't cost as much. How much does it cost for a start?
This is about £10,000, so we'd say it's quite affordable, certainly compared with the Porsche, which is just under £60,000.
Right, so if anyone's got £10,000 going to spare and they're thinking of buying a sporty little car, you'd rate this, would you?
I'd rate this. The press has given this a very good write-up all the way along.
What's it called? It's a Peugeot?
It's a 205 GTI 1.9. This has got the larger of the two engines they fit into this car. The other one's a 1.6. But this has got a lot of performance. The nice thing about it is it's so nimble, agile, and as you say, the performance is accessible.
Peugeot are going to love you. Let's get out of the car. A nice little plug for our foreign competitors. What I never really understand about the nature of the smaller cars like this is that they don't look, I mean, it's a nice looking little car, but it doesn't look particularly fast. I mean, you know, if I was next to this at the traffic lights, I wouldn't expect it to take off at a great rate of knots. Is that part of the charm, do you think, the sort of, you know, the wolf in sheep's clothing?
Yes,
which I think was an advertising line, wasn't it, for
That's
one
right,
car?
yeah. Clearly, it's based on the standard car, which isn't a fast car. I mean, they do a number of things to make it look sporty. They put wider wheels on, fatter tyres, little red stripes around the front here. So it's quite subtle what they've done to this car, but that is part of the appeal as well, because we call them Q cars, cars that do the business but don't really look as if they will.
What do you think about the marketing of all these cars that we've seen today? I mean, it strikes me that obviously just as many women as men like to drive fast cars or don't like to drive them, and yet most of the marketing and the advertising, you tell me if I'm wrong, seems to be quite sexist, and it's going for the male, for the man driver.
Yes, and the car makers get a lot of flack for this. This is the sort of car that a female could drive. The steering's a little bit heavy, but really, you'll see quite a lot of these in London being driven by young ladies.
Yes, but I mean, I just wonder why the manufacturers do that. Is it because they make the judgment that it's men who tend to have the bank balance, tend to have the money? Because that's changed now. I mean, you know, women go out to work as much as men.
Yeah, I think it goes back a long way, and it's sort of a deep-rooted thing with them now. They believe that the man has the choice of the car, and certainly if it's going to be a sporty car, he has to make the decision. Yeah. But I think you're right. I think times are changing. You're married with children, aren't you? That's right.
Now, I'll ask you a personal question. I know your wife's probably watching. What does she think about your obsession with this kind of car, you know, with a really souped-up car? Does she think it's boring, or does she...
Well, yeah, I think she does. I don't think it's an obsession. When you've been in the business for 10 years, I mean, you have to test everything. And it's another car. Obviously, I'm in the job because I love doing it, and we enjoy driving these sorts of cars. But, you know, one day it could be a Porsche or a Sierra Cosworth, the next day it could be a Fiesta. So we have to try to maintain some sort of objectivity. I'm
honestly not trying to sort of be negative about it or sort of downbeat, but is there really much difference in getting behind the wheel of the Sierra Cosworth, right, which goes very, very quickly, and a Porsche, which goes a lot faster, I know, and it costs a lot more money? Is there much difference, really, given that you can only go up to 70 miles an hour anyway? What's the point?
Well, you say that the Porsche is much faster. It is a faster car than the Ford. But one of the points I make in the book is that the gap between the true supercars, the established supercars, and faster versions of saloons like the Sierra has narrowed to a remarkable degree. Yes. The Porsche is about 15 miles an hour faster on top speed than the Ford. Acceleration to 60 is about a second difference, but really that is quite a small gap considering the difference in the price between the two cars.
Absolutely, and of course we all know that the Cosworth is the one that the villains favour, isn't it? That's the one that they nick and to do their armed robberies in because it outpaces the fastest police car. All right, well thanks very much indeed for coming in, David. I think your book's lovely. It's a nice book, very nicely illustrated, and I have to tell you that we'll be looking at women's car maintenance later, our first of a new series. Now over to Judy.
I don't know. What is it about men and fast cars? I'll never know. Now, it's time for our weekly feature on stress next. You might remember that last week we met Stephen, Jill and Denise, who've all suffered from stress, recognised the fact, and they've actually begun to do something about it. Well, today, Professor Carey Cooper takes them through a 4-point plan for coping with stress and looks at the physical ways we can minimise its effects on our lives.
I felt very, very lonely, very, very tearful, as if nobody cared.
I get tension headaches. I can be sat there doing nothing and be having palpitations.
Recurring nightmares, mainly. Lack of sleep. So I wouldn't sleep because I was frightened to go to sleep because of this dream.
These people are all suffering from stress. Last week they told me why and how it affected their lives. This week we brought them to the peace and quiet of the Cheshire countryside to look at the physical ways you can start to control your own stress. Helping me to prescribe the key to a healthier lifestyle is someone you all know, this morning's own doctor, Chris Steele. Hello, Chris, how are you?
Hi, Kerry.
Great. Could you please tell us, give us some ideas about the physical ways people can kind of control the stress in their lives?
Well, I recommend a 4-point plan to follow. First of all, diet. Second, exercise. Third, relaxation. And 4, breathing. Now, going back to diet, not a special diet to follow, but to be very aware of what you are eating, and in particular, be very careful about your consumption of coffee. Caffeine does induce anxiety symptoms, and if you are a stressed person, then you shouldn't be drinking more than 4 or 5 cups of coffee per day because of the caffeine level. Exercise, to take regular exercise, but getting into it very gently, not going over the top and exerting yourself too much. Relaxation, learning to switch off and to take time out, and allowing yourself time to reflect and get away from stress. And fourthly, the breathing.
What do you mean by the breathing?
Well, a breathing technique which we use on our patients to educate them how to overcome stress. Now, it's quite simple, and anyone can do this anywhere. It's a slow breathing technique, and the patient is instructed to think of the word slow, and then to breathe in slowly. So if you could just do this now,
Sure.
Carry with me. Take a deep breath in, slowly breathing in. Now hold your breath. While you're holding your breath, feel that tension across your chest and in the muscles. Now just let go. Noticing as you breathe out, that tension drains out of your body. The breathing out is a means of relaxing further. Now take a deep breath in again. Breathe in deeply, hold it. In a moment when I say let go, you'll feel the tension leaving your body. Let go.
Very peaceful, Chris. I'm going to sleep right now. Okay. I think for some physical exercise, which I think obviously you said we need a lot of, we're going to go see Jill now in the gym and take a look at what we should be doing there. Does this look like hard work, Jill?
It is.
Of course you do this every day, don't you?
No, unfortunately I don't. This is just a luxury.
Is it? So you don't do it very often? You don't have a gym facility like this available to you?
No, I don't have the time to get round to doing things like this.
Yeah, why don't you have the time?
Because I'm so busy during our work and my little
Your
girl.
little girl, your 3-year-old.
Yes, so I don't get very much chance to do
So
things
what
like
do you
this.
do to relieve the stress and build your body up and do all the physical exercise you need?
Occasionally we go swimming, both of us. So I can leave her, because she can swim, I can leave her on her own and I can sort of buzz off and...
Do you do kind of vigorous swimming or?
Not for a long time, only for